they give it a new name. The cool kids call it, what is up gangsters? My name is Beansy and today we are trying 7-Eleven fried chicken. Let's get into it. So I just wanted to take a minute and preface this video with a warning that I am going to use a few cuss words in this. Usually I just remove them in some way that I find funny, but I feel it's going to detract from my kind of angry and sad story. This video you might find funny and you probably won't. It's fine. Feel free to laugh. Like I find the best way forward is to laugh. I don't really find anything funny in it right now, but it could be funny in the future. It's not going to be like a normal food review. I've actually got several different cuts of several different days in this. So it's going to be something very different. If you like it, I guess like it. Do not subscribe. If you want to help, share the video with somebody else. And hopefully it spreads and more people can hear my story. And hopefully discover my more entertaining content. All right, back to the video. So we got a samosa as well. I've had 7-Eleven fried chicken many times. I love it. It's delicious. I've never had the samosa. I was like, what's the ball? And I'm like, it's a samosa. But it just looks like a ball because it doesn't have that distinct triangle shape. Let's give this a shot. There's quite a bit of spice in there. So it's mostly mashed potatoes with peas, lots of spices, maybe some corn. It's pretty good. Why we're here today, not only to eat fried chicken, but to talk about something that made me a little bit upset. I was editing a video and it brought back an old memory. Let's backtrack about 2 years. I had this job at a directional drilling place. So we were refurbing these directional drills. I had this bad outbreak and I go to see my doctor and he sends me to the emergency room and then they call a dermatologist. And so I go and see a dermatologist. But like a couple weeks prior to that, my skin was getting pretty bad. My mind is in such a fog. I'm on a new medication for eczema. And as you can probably tell, the cream is not working. I saw a doctor and he said it's rosacea. And I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, I'm the doctor, I'm right. And I'm like, I've had this for 40 years. You're wrong. So he gives me a prescription for rosacea, which I didn't get filled out. Oh, and I brought in a Zozo sauce because I don't have any like normal hot sauce. I've just got like the turbocharged shit. So if you've never had a Zozo, don't go with hot. Go with mild. That is ridiculously hot. This is like dumb levels of hot. Yeah, I go see that doctor and then I'm like, well, I may as well get like a family doctor. So I go and see my family doctor and he does not know what to do with this and sends me to Emerge. And then Emerge sends me to a dermatologist and she's like, well, I'm not the specific dermatologist for this. I'm going to refer you to the best one in the town. So I get a referral and I have to wait 3 months. She gives me some creams and stuff. Some pretty heavy hitting creams, like they're heavy hitting steroids. And so I'm at this job and I'm taking like a whole bottle because my entire body's affected. Taking a whole bottle directly to my skin, pretty much head to toe. And I'm getting like strong steroid reactions, as in like roid rage. So that was fun. Also at that job, there was like 2 sections. There's like the normal section and then there's the hot section. I can't remember what it's called, but my skin was so bad at the time. When I'd shower, it felt like somebody was throwing razor blades at me. I did shower. It just hurt a lot, like to the point of crying. And the hot section at work, anytime I had to sweat, my skin would just feel like it was trying to push out rocks. And I wouldn't sweat. I would just be in pain. I requested to not get on part of that job that is too hot for me to deal with. I couldn't sweat, so I couldn't regulate my body temperature, and it was really, really painful. The work was fine. It easy. I ended up getting fired from that job because I couldn't do the hot part, or because I started this new medication. And this is what brings me to this video is this new medication. And the drugs they put me on, apparently there's a warning on medication that says it's super toxic. So, hooray. You thought eczema was just dry skin. Moisturizer is not going to fix this. It's about a week later. I'm editing my video and I find out the video's corrupted. So, guess what? We're going to finish the video. So I just made my supper. This is a gravy I made. This is essentially like shake and bake chicken, but it's my own recipe. Some homemade floppy fries. I kind of rushed the fries because the chicken was ready and I'm hungry. Where we left off, I'm just starting this new medication and the doctor doesn't tell me what it is. It says on the container, warning, this is a cytotoxin. I don't know what a cytotoxin is, but the doctor does warn that there are several side effects. You can be sleepy for a couple of days, loss of appetite, nausea, like general fatigue, as well as like just generally being stupid. By generally being stupid, I mean like you lose, not really cognitive abilities, but like you lose your memory and you're just generally not as smart as you usually are. Like the night is foggy. I never forget what's happening. Even if I drink a lot, I never forget what's happening. And I can't remember for sure what happened. I filmed a video. I have open chips. And there's like little blots in my memory that say that I filmed them. I didn't eat too many of them. I don't even know if I spoke. So I'll have to review that video at some point in time. Probably tomorrow. Hopefully I'm smarter tomorrow. And that's where this video comes in. I'm watching it and I'm realizing that, oh, this is within the first couple of weeks of me taking that new medication and I don't know what's happening. So after either 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I go ahead and I Google the name of the medication and it tells me the Google result is that this is chemotherapy and they're pills. So it's chemotherapy for skin cancer. I don't have skin cancer. I was really, really angry that the doctor didn't tell me that I was about to do chemotherapy. They just warned me of the side effects and they were like, here, take this. So I was pretty angry at the time. The steroids I was on probably didn't really help. My side effects were pretty much all of the above. I was very nauseous. Like I'd wake up and I just felt sick as hell. I'd take it on a Friday, Saturday, sick as shit all day. Like just couldn't do anything. And the pills they got me on are making me very sluggish. And I can't think. I'm very slow to do anything. It's 1 o'clock. I've been up since, I don't know, 10 o'clock. Which is also weird because I slept in a lot. And I haven't eaten anything yet. And then when I was up, I was nauseous. Like incredibly nauseous. Just generally tired. So I was probably only up for maybe 8 to 10 hours a day on the weekend. And I was going back to work for the first, I think, 2 weeks. Because they made us go to work on the weekends. I think I was working 21 on, 1 off, I believe. Like it was dumb. I think it was 3 weekends in a row and 1 weekend off. So the first 2 weekends I was working while on chemotherapy. 10-hour days too. Fun. And then I got laid off at Christmas, probably because I wouldn't do the hot work or because I was freaking out from the steroids. I become irrationally angry on steroids, and I was on a pretty heavy dose. So, understandable why you wouldn't want somebody like that on your crew. It was a place that was just dripping in toxic masculinity. Yeah, I don't miss it. At the end of the 3 months, I did get another job. At the end of the treatment, my skin condition was still bad. And so I just suffered through all that just so the local drug system could say, okay, you can go on to the next thing. I do know somebody that did go through the chemotherapy session, didn't have all the side effects, and it worked for him. So I guess it does work for people, but I've only met 4 people. One guy at a random gas station, a hairdresser I had a couple years ago, somebody I worked with a couple years ago, and it was actually the hairdresser that told me about the doctor that I have to go see. And it took me 5 years to get approved for the proper treatment. My skin condition was still really bad at the end of the chemotherapy, which I was pretty upset about. And I did get a few side effects that some people may have. I never get headaches or bruises, and I had a lot of headaches, and I bruised extremely easily. And up until almost a year after the fact, I was getting bruises that I called alien bites. And they were bright purple, yellow, orange, red, like insane looking bruises. And you could hit me as hard as you could, and like a fine scratch would cause like this rainbow of bruises on me. And I wouldn't even know that I had it. Headaches, I never had headaches before. And I think like 3 or 4 months after, I was still getting headaches. So that wasn't nice. I didn't get any hair loss, and you don't get hair loss from chemo. Even though there is things called like chemo hair and stuff like that. It's actually the radiation burst that gets rid of your hair. So I didn't have any hair loss. The weirdest side effect is I had absolutely no urgency out of my bladder. The only way I knew I had to go to the bathroom was the pressure on the front of my abdomen. That's the only way I knew. I didn't have that urgency feeling. So like, even when I went back to work, like I could go through a 10-hour day and just not have the feeling that I needed to go at all, no matter how much I drank or anything. And the best part about going back to work, literally the Monday after my last treatment, I went back to work. So what chemo does is it'll kill off your immune system. And it did. Like, I never get sick. And I was sick for 2 months after my treatment. Because within the first 2 or 3 weeks of going back to work, I caught a cold and it wouldn't go away. I'm serious when I say if I was sick for 10 days, that was a big deal. For being sick for 2 months, it was approximately 60 days that I was sick for. Like, that is a really long time. It wasn't a bad cold, but I was sick for so long. And I just caught a very minor cold. I don't tell people about my skin condition or I don't name it, because a lot of people will just say, oh, I have that. You don't understand. It's a 1 in a million possibility of having something this extreme. Literally. So it's an extreme form of eczema. I think 9 out of 10 people that live where I live will say that they have eczema. And it's because it is an extreme, dry, arid place. That could very well be. But their version is like very mild, dry skin. And mine is my immune system trying to attack the rest of my body. extreme swelling, extreme dryness, blood oozing, pus, like just disgusting. Quite often I won't go out places because even like the closest friends and family will be like, what's wrong with your face? And that's another reason why I'm a faceless channel. After 30 plus years of taking steroids, I have thin skin, both figuratively and mentally. It's devastating as a human being for somebody to be like, oh, what's wrong with your face? Why don't you moisturize? Why don't you use lip chap? My lip chap costs $20 a stick. Mind you, that's a little on the high end, but like $10 to $20. That's what I pay for lip chap. Just a face cream that's dermatology approved, I think I spent $25 on a small bottle the other day. The cheap, like, hand moisturizer that I use is $10 a jug. It's usually a lot more expensive than your typical stuff that a lot of people use. Another thing is, like, people will say to me in summertime, you know, aren't you hot? Yeah, I'm fucking hot. Of course I am. I have to cover up because the sun will like just degenerate my fucking skin. It's not nice. I was just on a work trip and there was some knucklehead that I had to drive with. I tried for the life of me to get him to laugh, but he was such a prick. But anyways, he starts giving me life advice on eczema. Don't do that. I don't need your advice. Believe me, if you thought of it, unless you're living through this, I've thought of it, I've tried it, or somebody's already said something about it. I don't need your advice. I don't really need your pity either, but I definitely don't need your advice. Unless you've lived through it, you don't get it. Like, I had a period where I had to take baths in essentially oatmeal. And I was using oatmeal to clean my body. I can't use deodorant. I have to use shea butter to kill the bacteria that's in my armpits. Like, it's not the same as your life and oh, we'll just have a little bit of moisturizer and use whatever cheap chapstick you have. Cheap chapstick will make my life hell. I can't use it. The little cut out of my lip will become a massive bleeding crevice. As you can see, there are quite a bit of scar points still, but it takes a really long time for that stuff to heal. The new medication I'm on, it's thankfully doing something. It's helping me a lot. I've been on it, I think, for 6 months now, and it's great. It's called Dupixent. From what I understand, the cost is about $1,100 per injection. $2,200 a month. Really expensive, but it works. Targets the exact part of your immune system and tells it to calm down. And it does, it works. My asthma's better, my allergies are better, and my eczema is almost completely eradicated. When eczema is as bad as mine is, they give it a new name. The cool kids call it type A dermatitis or atypical dermatitis. I told that to another doctor and they're like, oh, they don't know what's wrong with you. I've been on it for a few months, being in and out of jobs at no fault of my own. This company is actually coming through and covering it, even though Alberta Healthcare is not covering it. They want me to go out in the sun. It's not really an option. The health company that the dermatologist put me together with is covering the cost. So I don't actually pay anything for it, which is great because I can barely pay my rent. And with all the other fun stuff that you have to buy for eczema, or this extreme portion of it, my healthcare routine is pricey. Not to mention the recovery process of chemo, like the amount of extra vitamins and stuff that I had to take is like at least 10 times what I was taking before. It's a lot, including a lot of vitamin D, just to keep up my spirits, because having a drug attempt to kill you while you have a disease that makes you want to kill yourself, it's not uplifting. If you enjoyed watching me eat something and complain, I have something over here, and I did have another one over here. I think it's probably the original noodle video that made me sad for doing it and took probably 3 times as long to make. Thanks for watching. Peace. Cheap chapstick. Cheap chap. Oh man. Let's give this a